Hello student, welcome to KVSRO online classes Jabalpur. Today I am going to start a topic living organism and their surrounding. Student, before starting this topic, we just learn about the living things and non-living things. As you learn about living things and non-living things in previous classes, but we will observe it and learn it in a brief. Student, let's know about the living things. Observe here, students. Can you identify it? Leopard, fish, these are the living things. How can we say it's a living things? Because they can grow, they can breathe, they can respire, they can reproduce also. So, the things which can grow, move, breathe and reproduce are called living things. And what about these pictures? In this picture, bicycle, table, socks, toy, car, brush, etc. are given. If we talk about the bicycle, can it grow? Isn't it? Nahi na? What about table? Can it breathe? No. So, the things which cannot grow, move, breathe and reproduce are called non-living things. And they do not have any kind of life also, students. So, I hope you are able to know about the living things and non-living things. Now, students, observe these pictures. If we discuss about the term organism, what does it mean, students? The term organism mostly speak about the huge variety of animals. If we talk about the large animals like elephant, leopard, whale, these are large animals. And if we talk about the worms, tiny animals, ant are germs. They are also known as living organisms. So what we say about the organism, living creatures are called as organisms. So these living organisms, they have different sizes, students. If we talk about elephant, it has a big size. And if we talk about the ant, it has very small size. So what we can say, the living organism have different sizes, different shapes, and they are found in different places. So let's know about their surroundings are the places where these animals are found. We start inside our house. Students, it is very easy to find organisms all around us, and there are some organisms which are found inside our houses. If we talk about spider, it lives inside our house. If we talk about cockroach, it also rat. In previous class, you have learned about the unwanted guest. They live along with us inside our houses. Here in this picture, can you identify these animals? Dog and cat. They also live sometimes inside our houses. Now let's observe the organisms which are found outside our house. Observe the students, cattle. They are found outside our houses. If we talk about horse, it's also found outside our houses or near our houses. If we talk about the sparrow or birds, it's also found near our houses. So what we can conclude, the living organism, they sometimes they live along with us and sometimes they live near our houses or they live near our surroundings. So what you can conclude, students, there are huge variety of living organisms in different surroundings. Now observe the next surrounding. Students, if we move forward and go to the forest, isn't it, students? In the forest, we can see, you might have seen, students, leopard, and you observe panther, and tiger also. Where they are found? They are found in forest, students. And in the forest, they survive there successfully. They can live successfully. Why? Because they have some qualities, and with the help of these features or quality, they can survive in the forest. Isn't it? Now, next. If we compare the climate of desert and forest, students, can you imagine the lion can survive in desert, students? Is it possible? Isn't it? Nahi na? The lion can't survive in deserts. Why? Let's observe some features or the quality of climatic condition of desert. As you know, students, if we compare the forest and deserts, so in the forest there are huge variety of trees, soil quality is wet, climate is moderate. And if we talk about the quality of the climatic condition of the desert, so here is a huge variety of trees in the forest, but in the desert there is a very less tree, students, isn't it? Or there is a no tree. And the climatic condition of the desert is extreme hot during day and night are very cold. But in the forest there is a moderate climate. So what we can conclude is that the animals which can survive the desert, they can't survive, which can survive in the forest, they can't survive in the deserts. So there are a set of qualities or the features which help the animals to survive in the desert. So let's know who can survive in the desert. Can you identify it? I hope you can identify it easily. It's a camel. What we call them, students? What we call it, students? Ship of desert. It has so many features or the qualities which helps them to survive in desert. Now, if we talk about the plants, so plants are also in desert, plants have some specific qualities, like there is a no leaves. Students, these are not a leaves. What are these, students? These are stem, and they help the plants to prepare their food because there is no leaves, and where the leaves are converted into spines. So these are the special qualities or the features which are developed by the organisms to survive their surrounding successfully. Now let's move forward and observe the next surrounding. Okay, let's move to the polar region. Students, can you imagine, can the camel survive in polar region? Can leopards survive in the polar region? Isn't it? They can't survive. Why? Due to the climate of polar region. How the climate of polar region, students? There is a extreme cold and snow all around throughout the year. So, due to this, the animals which are survive in desert, they can't survive in polar region. So, the animals who lives in the polar region, they have some specific features or the special qualities which help them to survive successfully in polar region. Now students, in polar region, it is not possible for us also to survive for a long period. थोड़े समय के लिए हम जा सकते हैं polar region में, but it is not possible to survive for a longer period, because students, during the summer season, what will happen? Temperature keep decreasing. So for decreasing to make them to protect themselves, protect us from the cold, what we will do? We wear woolen cloths and it helps us to protect them from the cold. So we can't adjust for such type of climatic condition. हमारी बॉडी भी इस climatic condition के लिए adapted नहीं है. So who can survive here, students? Let's observe. Can you identify them? Polar bear, and these are the penguins. They can survive successfully in polar region. How can they survive? They have some specific features like skin. If we talk about their skin is thick or furry, which help them to and which make them protect them from the extreme cold, and they survive successfully in such type of surrounding. Now students, let's know about the water animals. If we talk about the fish, it can survive in pond. These are also, it can survive in pond and extreme. And there are some other water animals, they live in sea. Octopus are the larger fish, they live in the sea. But student, can you imagine this fish which live in fresh water or the pond, it can't survive in sea. And in the same way, this fish can't survive in the ponds. Why? Because this fish is adapted for they can comfortable in salty water, and this fish comfortable in fresh water. So students, there is also a huge variety of living organisms in sea, like large fish and crab, octopus, jellyfish. There are huge variety of organisms which are live in the water. And which type of water? Some varieties of organisms live in fresh water, while some others are live in salty waters, and all varieties are comfortable live in their surroundings. Now let's observe next surrounding. Now students, what you have observed, there are different types of surroundings you have observed. like it's a aquatic are the surroundings of water animals. है ना? Here different varieties of living organisms can survive in this surrounding. If we talk about polar region, it's a different surrounding and different variety of animals live here successfully. And if we talk about the desert surroundings, here also different varieties of animals live. So what we can conclude it, there are huge variety of living organisms which can survive in different surroundings, and for these different surroundings they have some specific features are the qualities, and this type of qualities or specific features is known as adaptation, students. So what we can define the term adaptation, the presence of specific features or certain habits which enable a plant or an animals to live in its surrounding is called adaptation. Here observe, these animals are adapted for forest and they can't survive in polar region, and these animals are adapted for the polar region and they can't survive in forest. In the same way, the water animal can't survive in the forest. So all animals have some specific features which make them to survive in their different surroundings. I hope students now you are able to learn about the meaning of adaptation. Now students, observe here what you can conclude it on the basis of previous slides. What are these are the penguins, and if we talk about their home is polar region. If we talk about the fish, its home is pond, and if we talk about the camel, its home is desert. So the different surroundings are known as the home, or a new term is habitat. What we call it, these are the home of different animals. Where do we live, students? We also live in home. The place where we live and the place which we provide us shelter, food, water, protection from enemies, protection from heat, cold, what we call them? Shelter or home. In the same way, these different surroundings are the home of these animals, or we call them habitat. So, what is the habitat, students? Animal adapt to different condition in different ways. The result is variety of habitats, and the habitats refers to the surrounding where organism live, or you can say habitat means home or a dwelling place of a animals. So I hope students now you are able to know about the habitat, and what the habitat give us. It gives us protection from heat, cold and rain. It gives us food, it gives us shelter. In the same way, if we talk about the living organisms which live in different surroundings, these surroundings provide them food, shelter, protection, partners, so many things. That's why they can survive there successfully. So I hope students now you are able to know the meaning of habitat. Now observe here, students. Here you have observed there is a elephant, giraffe, tiger. It means where these animals live, they live in the forest, student. Where they live in the forest. So If someone asks you what is the habitat of the giraffe, so what you will reply? Forest. If someone asks you what is the habitat of tiger, what you will reply? Forest. So what we can say, these animals have their home, and where their home is? Forest. In the same way, if we talk about the penguin, its habitat is polar region. If we talk about the polar bear, its habitat is polar region. In the same way, if we talk about the sea animals and if we discuss their habitat, so what its habitat is, students? Sea. So what we can conclude, the animals have habitats where they live. The place is known as habitat. And what the habitat provides, students? The habitat provide shelter, protection, etc. Now let's know about the different types of habitat. Aquatic habitat and terrestrial habitat. As I told you, aquatic habitat like ponds, lake, stream, sea, oceans, these are aquatic habitat. If we talk about ponds, it's a freshwater habitat. And if we talk about sea and ocean, students, it's a salty water habitat. So, how many types of habitats in aquatic? First is freshwater and salty water. Two types of habitats we can observe in aquatic habitat. And if we talk about the terrestrial habitats, so there are so many types of terrestrial habitats like forest, desert, grassland, mountain. These are the terrestrial habitats. Now let's know more about the different habitats. Now let's observe the different type of habitat in terrestrial habitats like desert, mountain and grassland. If we talk about the aquatic habitat, as I told you, it's a salty, and this one is fresh water. So there are two types of aquatic habitats. Now there are some examples of terrestrial habitats like deserts, forests, grassland, coastal, mountain region. I hope you have learned about the deserts. Which type of habitat is this? Students? It has sandy soil. It have extreme hot during the day and extreme cold during the night. There is a less vegetation or no vegetation. So the animals are the organisms which are found here. They are adapt for such type of habitat. And if we talk about forest, there is a wet soil. There is a moderate climate. Soil is wet, and in this way soil is also a habitat of huge variety of tiny organisms. And here the huge variety of organisms are found, like large animals like lion, elephant, giraffe, and tiny animals like ant, spider, etc. In the grassland, here also a huge variety of animals we can find. In the same way, coastal areas, it means it's near the sea. Here also we can find different varieties of organisms. In mountain region, it's also a part of terrestrial habitats. Actually, students, it's a hilly area. So what we can say about the terrestrial habitats, the plants and the animals that live on the land are said to live in terrestrial habitats. Now students, stay safe, stay home and stay strong and keep learning. Thank you students.